Let us bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, as we near the day of your Son's birth, we want to thank you for the blessings we have received because of his birth. I pray that those blessings will extend to our meeting tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. Mr. Gray.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Clerk.
Commissioner Leyland.
Present.
Commissioner File.
Here.
Commissioner Marquetti. Here. Chair Dice.
Here.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Here.
Commissioner Bryce.
Here.
And Commissioner Jones.
The one and only.
We do have a quorum. Introduction of visitors. We'll start with that handsome man on the end right there. You, Jerry.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Marquetti, and I'm the Atwood Township Supervisor.
District 3. Jennifer Renfro, Finance Director.
Dave Reeve, Facilities Director.
Ron Butts, Animal Control Director.
Richard Banky, Sheriff.
Hope Anderson, County Treasurer.
Emily Grove, Village Manager, Cassopolis.
Deputy Nevins, K-9 Faust.
And who are these lovely people with you?
Keep on.
I drug them along. My son Chase Nevins, my daughter Jaden Nevins, and my wife Ellie Nevins.
Welcome.
Hi, Ambrosia Nelda, Web Content Content Manager.
Mary Howie, Commissioner-elect, 5th District.
Rose Kelsheimer, Deputy Treasurer, Jefferson Township.
Kevin Kelsheimer, Jefferson Township.
Roger Boyer, Porter Township.
RJ and Theodore, Commissioner-elect.
Samantha Lee and Charlie.
Clint Roach, Undersheriff.
Okay, welcome you all here. Public comment. Floor is open for public comment. Is there any public comment?
Hello, Emily. I am here tonight, one, to just say hello. Two, I am privileged to sit on the land bank with Hope Anderson and a few others here in the room. We have some great opportunities ahead with the land bank and some grants that have come through. I think some of that's been discussed here. One of the things that we need to do to be able to move those projects forward and move those grants forward, though, was to update the bylaws so that they reflected what needed to be seen in the grants. So that is on for your approval tonight. So I just wanted to be here to thank you for reviewing them and allowing us to move that information forward and to answer any questions, along with Hope if there was anything pressing or that you didn't understand about what was there.
Our next Land Bank meeting is Thursday, December 8th at 9 a.m. And the State Land Bank Authority will be in attendance, if anyone would like to join us. And before Emily goes, I need to make sure everyone knows that the Village of Cassopolis received the 2022 Community Excellence Award. It's the most prestigious honor given by the Michigan Municipality League. And Roseanne did mention it in a board meeting, but since she's here in person, could we all give them a round of applause?
Thank you. Happy to see a lot of progress going on. Happy to see the county moving some projects along as well. So look forward to many more fun things in the near future.
Does anybody have any questions about the land bank
Public comment.
bylaws?
No questions about the land bank.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good enough.
Mary Howie. I'm here to talk about the Air Zoo show that my husband and I attended today in Kalamazoo. It was a sponsor for the Cassopolis School children, the high school kids. We went up there. It was a beautiful day, wonderful. I truly recommend anybody that goes to Kalamazoo, please go to the Air Zoo Museum. Tiris Lucinko is the one that does the plane rescues out of Lake Michigan. If I misspeak, tell me. And they take them to this historic museum, and they actually restore them right there. And my husband actually we got to put on washers and nuts on an engine, and just some really good, rich history about some of the people that flew the planes and, didn't make it because they crashed in Lake Michigan. But they have all different kinds of planes there. We actually got to go inside of one. But it's amazing. They show the before picture and the after picture. So I think events like this are good for our school children, and we should have a lot more of them. Thank you.
Is it public?
Public comment.
Anyway, so you guys remember last time I invited everybody to go. So Mary and Mark took me up on the invitation. They came along with, they want them to come back. They want Mark to be an engineer over there. Anyway, they did much better than Fred Upton, who couldn't put a nut on a bolt if his life depended on it. But the important thing is the students came, the students went, and the whole thing, what happened was, and for people who don't know, public television out of Detroit had contacted me about 2 months ago. They wanted to do another special on what I do. And what I said is, I already got the flash and the bang from what I do. But I want you to see how they do the educational outreach with this. And so I contacted the superintendent, Ritzler? Yeah, is that how he said? And he said, yeah, do it, bring the students. So a group of Cassopolis High School students came today, and one of them was actually interviewed by public television. She will be on the episode talking about what she did, and they were doing everything. They were riveting. They were doing the skins on the aircraft. They were working on the engines. They were doing everything. So they're all in the B-roll. It's called B-roll. The one student was interviewed. Anyway, so then I had a debriefing with them afterward, and I said, you guys ready for some more like really wild stuff? And I said, so I want your opinion. And they said, okay, what do you want? And I said, all right, you guys are young. We have a big I said, do they teach you about energy in your school? And they said, no, we don't know anything about energy. And I said, okay, well, you guys are in trouble because of my generation. We've spent all your money, used all your resources, and handed you all our trash. And I said, so you're in big trouble. We're running out of oil. Windmills and photovoltaics arrays don't work, so what I want you to do is learn about nuclear energy. And I said, you want to go to the top national laboratory and learn about nuclear energy? And it was a resounding yes. So I've already contacted the laboratory. The director of nuclear engineering is aware. In March, we're probably taking the students to Argonne National Laboratory. They're going to learn about fission, fusion, pyroprocessing of spent nuclear fuel, pebble bed reactors, sodium cooling, high energy fast neutron reactors, everything under the sun. And so I'll come back here and I'll invite all of you, and I think you all should go, all right? Because if the youth in this community can learn this, so can the adults, all right? So there you have it.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Close public comment. I will say my son went to their museum when he was 10 years old. He is now the chief engineer for Alaska Airlines. He works on all their jet engines, so that is a good show. He got influenced when he was a little kid, and he took and ran with it. So. Okay, approval of the agenda.
Yes.
Mr. Marchetti.
Yes, I move for the approval of the agenda with the addition of, under recognitions, a recognition for number of years of service for Annie Fine.
Support?
I'll support.
Probably move to approve of the agenda. No discussion? No discussion? We'll vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Agenda is approved. Recognitions.
Resolution R 232-22, a resolution in recognition of years of service for Sheriff Deputy K-9 Powers. Whereas Sheriff Deputy K-9 Faust became a member of the Cass County Sheriff's Office in July of 2016 and was assigned to Deputy David Nevins. And whereas during his career, Faust and Canine Handler Nevins built an impressive list of accomplishments, including carrying a 70% success rate on his tracks, locating over 135 individuals, 60 suspected criminals, and 75 missing persons, children, or specific persons. And whereas K-9 Faust located over 3 kilograms of illegal substances and 5 handguns during his tenure. And whereas Faust also received a letter of commendation from Senator John Prose. Now therefore be it resolved that on behalf of the Cass County Board of Commissioners and the citizens of Cass County, K-9 Faust is recognized for his years of service to the community and being a trusted and faithful partner to Deputy Nevins. Deputy K-9 Faust has been a valued asset of the Sheriff's Office and completed incredible work for the citizens of Cass County. We wish you the best in your retirement at home with your family. Adopted this first day of December 2022, I so move.
Second.
Can we get a picture of?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Oh, nice.
I'd like to present K-9 Faust. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Need the commissioner to give me one.
Yeah, he's all right.
Oh, yes,
I don't blame you, buddy. Dog don't do it.
Somebody in here crumbled with some drugs on.
There you go. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Senator.
That was just public comment.
Good job, Faust. Good job, Faust.
Care less about the plaque, give me a snake.
Okay.
We have another resolution?
Chairperson, Chair
Oh, we have the
Guy.
resolution. I need a resolution, any discussion on resolution?
Yes.
Yes,
I
go
want to
ahead.
know if there's a replacement. Got a replacement already? Oh, okay.
Any other discussion on? No? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Marquetti?
yes.
Commissioner Benjamin?
Yes.
Commissioner Grice?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yep.
Commissioner Leyland?
Yes.
Commissioner File?
Yes.
And Chair Guy.
Double yes. Okay, we have another resolution.
Yes. I have to stand up and do this, and I hope we can do this with as few tears as possible.
Well, now, don't make me
Recognition for
cry.
years of service, whereas Dixie File was elected to the Cass County Board of Commissioners in 2002, and whereas Ms. File has served on the board for 20 years and presently represents District 2, and whereas Ms. File has represented the county and her constituents on many boards and commissions, including the Planning Commission, Parks and Recreation Commission, Soil Conservation District, Appointments Committee, as well as various others. Now therefore be it resolved that the Cass County Board of Commissioners recognizes Ms. File for her years of service on the Board of Commissioners, and be it further resolved that the board wishes Commissioner File all the best in the years ahead. Adopted this first day of December 2022. I so move.
Second. Any discussion on this? No discussion on this.
Yes, yes.
Yes. I would like to say that it's, every time I won the election, it really makes you feel humble that people come and vote for you. And it's gonna be, I feel like it's gonna be a divorce or something, that I'm not gonna be here, but you guys can carry on. That's it.
Say something. 20 years you have served the people of Cass County, and that is such an accomplishment And I admire that so much. And Annie, she has those zingers. She has those zingers. And what are we gonna do without them? And thank you so much for your service. And
I feel so special. She is special. I will say that, me and Annie, since when I got on the board, she knew who I was right away, who I was, because she went to school with my older sister. And sometimes we didn't agree, but we always respected each other. And she's going to be somebody you're going to really miss, because she understands what the difference means, that we don't take it home with us.
that's right.
We always came back and we were always talking, we always smiled at each other. We always refined it and made it work, so we miss you, Annie.
Well, I think we should, all of us retiring people should meet for coffee once a week.
So, anything else? If not, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Benjamin? Commissioner Grice?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Leyland?
Yes.
Commissioner File?
Yes.
Chair Dykes?
Yes.
And Commissioner Marquetti?
Yes.
And the only reason doing this is because she's gonna be in Florida in 2 weeks. And, yeah, right.
Hope you guys have a big old snowstorm.
Yeah, I know you're talking.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna, under proposed consent agenda, move N2322 to new business, be number 6.
Okay.
Number 6 and 2.
Okay. Proposed consent agenda.
Proposed consent agenda, motion 224-22, a motion to approve the November 17, 22 Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes. I move the above listed item be voted on at one time by roll call vote, considered as a consent agenda by the Board of Commissioners.
A second.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion on the motion? Not? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Leyland?
Yes.
Commissioner File?
Yes.
Commissioner Marquetti?
Yes.
Chair Dykes?
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin?
Yes.
Commissioner Grice?
Yes.
And Commissioner Jones?
Yep. President, agenda is passed. Committee reports, Commissioner Leyland.
The one thing I'm gonna hit on is we're kind of in a snag regarding the historic site review for the historic courthouse with congressional directed spending through Senator Peters' office. We're trying to work through that. We sent some letters today to some of our state reps to have them try to work through it. The historic group, state agencies severely overworked and understaffed. So we're saying that the review could take multiple months to get done. So we're trying to short-term that, see if we can get it a little quicker than the process in which they told us it might take. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Any questions for Commissioner Leyland? No, we'll go to Commissioner File.
No report.
Okay, Commissioner Marquetti, so let's
Yes.
go.
I have a brief report. Connexus, I met with Connexus twice, and they have lost employees, and they are, of course, looking and recruiting and doing some different things in order to keep the employees that they have. The full board of Connexus meets tomorrow morning. And I attended the NADS meeting, and they have extra money, and they are, in fact, it's in excess of $600,000. And so Berrien County is meeting with Cass County, and our representatives that are meeting are Sandy Senior is meeting with them, as well as Joe Bellina, and they're looking at how both counties can benefit from that money. Also, I wanted to mention that the roundabout, they did mention the roundabout, but there really isn't any other news except what Bob Thompson has talked about, that the two attorneys are talking, so. And that's it for me tonight.
Any questions for Commissioner Marquetti? Commissioner Benjamin?
I have no report for this meeting.
Okay. Commissioner Grice?
No report, sir.
Commissioner Jones?
All right, as usual, for our beloved county veterans,
we've had 197 contacts for just the month of November, so that's good. People are getting the word out, and we're helping our heroes. We have an increase from October to November in veterans benefits, that's our disability payments, of $120,578. We're working with the Treasurer's Office, Code Enforcement, which is my part-time job, property cleanup, and using the Blight Program with MI Hope, the Soldiers Relief, and the MVTF. Please don't ask me what that acronym stands for, Military Veterans something or another, I don't remember. And MISHTA for roof, windows, doors. We're pulling off a trailer. The house is in terrible condition, and it was brought to all of our attention. They're living in a 12 by 12 one-room place. It's got black mold in the the only bathroom in the place they can use. So I went there, took a bunch of pictures, me and the Treasurer's Office. Thank you, Hope. And I'll get a little emotional if I keep talking about it, but it is great that she got involved with this, and we're using this as a pilot program to not only help our veterans, but other people in the county. But we're spending a lot of money on this worthy veteran. He's got chemo, dialysis 2-3 times a week, and it's tearing the family up with the black mold and living in substandard conditions. So we're taking care of them, and I applaud them, and thank you again, Hope, for all the things you do for us, especially our veterans. Our board has approved multiple soldier and sailor relief funds for food vouchers, gas, utility shutoffs, all the essentials. We don't do things that are non-essential, but we do have other organizations that get, like, because you need a cell phone, but the government sometimes doesn't consider that essential. These days, our whole lives are on these things, so it's essential. We're doing new wiring for a mobile home to restore electrical power, a couple disconnects for utilities, and the problem with that is when they come to me as a chair of the board or to Korea, our VSO, it's already after they're 3 or 4 months behind, they're facing shutoff. So we have to approve it quickly, and we've been pretty good at that. Our dental program is working through the county health department and Dr. Hayden. And I like to use him because him and his son sent me care packages when I was in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I made it a point to pay it forward by sending them some business. And they do a pretty good job because my tooth don't hurt no more. Transportation is running smooth. I got a yearly meeting with them to where we can smooth out any issues or take care of some things. We have a TV that we ordered for the Veterans Office through our grant money. So if a veteran needs to have a Zoom meeting for any of their claims, dental appointments, VA appointments, or anything like that, and they don't have it at their house, they can come here to the county building and use ours for free. And then when there's no veterans around, it'll just be a running PowerPoint slide for just general information because the door is always open. So for the drama part, I was contacted by a organization, and they offered to bring to Cass County and our veterans 125 free meals for Christmas and a bunch of other things. Sounded great from the beginning, but after I started doing digging and through the vetting process, because if you're dealing with veterans, you're dealing with their social security number, and we'll just say PII altogether. And if it doesn't pass certain vetting procedures, some of the older veterans don't know any better, and they'll just give a person their life. So I turned it down. But with that said, through our VSO and our county finance director and Matt Newton, our administrator, we have more than enough for our county veterans. So I'm not turning down anything, and I'm not taking away from anybody. But it did not pass the vetting process, and if anybody calls you and tells you anything different, bring them to me, please. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Jones? Go ahead, Commissioner Benjamin.
So why isn't cell phones considered an essential communication?
You have to call
some of the vendors.
You have to call your federal government to ask that question.
So
I ask the same question, and I get, good luck calling anybody, through like the post office, the train station. the governor or senators. You know, why isn't a cell phone considered? I asked the same question and I got the runaround.
Some of the benefits for veterans, you have to have a cell phone to be able to access it, like, it's a Home Depot or Lowe's, that you gotta have their app
And like
get
with
the
you,
discounts and
or
stuff.
with people that have the diabetes,
Right.
and those things that are on them for the type 1s, they use their cell phones to track their levels and all that. We're working on it, but we don't have any issues because we take care of our veterans. If they need a cell phone and they fill out the form and it's required, we get them what they need and we get it paid for, no problem.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Appointments Committee,
I have no report.
Administrator?
My report is in the packet. There's a couple things, if there's any questions on the items in there, I'm happy to answer those. A couple things I'll note, we've talked about it a couple meetings, but the holiday party will be in the probate courtroom on December 9th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Our audit is underway. Yo and Yo is on site today and tomorrow, and the field work, I believe, will happen next month, so that process is now going. The last thing I'm going to mention, actually I give a shout out to our HR department, Beth Daly and Daisha. They were on their way to a training on Tuesday, and I actually got some pictures sent to me shortly thereafter, but they found that there was a car that had rolled over in the median on the highway. And they both were able to stop. They went over and helped. There was actually a bunch of water that had filled into the median, and the gentleman was trapped in the car. And Beth had one of those kind of glass breakers, and both of them ran over, and they ended up getting covered in mud, but helped with a couple other bystanders there to help try and get the guy out of the car while they were waiting for emergency personnel to get them. So I just really wanted to acknowledge, kind of, they were out on their way to a training and took it upon themselves to stop and help somebody that was in need, and I thought that was a great story to tell.
All right.
Great.
Good deal.
Any questions for the administrator?
Just a quick comment or question, did they get any quick training?
They did. They were a little late, and I guess they said when they walked in, they had a little
dirty.
bit of puddles of mud behind them and
It
got a
was
few
obvious
looks,
what they
but
were doing.
yeah, but once they said, hey, we stopped to help somebody that was in need, nobody gave them any grief.
Great, great. Public safety,
No report.
county partners, any county partners here tonight? Elected officials. Clerk.
I have a couple things to share. First of all, I have an update on jury trials that I wanted to share. A lot of people don't realize that the clerk's office handles all jurors for the jury trials. So for circuit, probate, and district court, my office processes all jurors, which is quite labor intensive. Especially with the surge in jury trials, we have had to double the amount of jurors that we've summoned in the past couple of years. With that, I've decided to start offering information. So this Tuesday, we were supposed to have a CSC, which is criminal sexual conduct trial. And with those trials, jurors tend to be a little more sensitive, so we call more jurors in than normal. We summoned 90 jurors for Tuesday morning. Of those 90, 69 appeared. And unfortunately, no trial went that day. So of those 69 that were called in, all were sent home. And I would like to share the cost of calling in 69 jurors was just over $2,000. So we spent a record amount of money on jurors last year, and so my budget is going very quick. I will probably come back to you asking for a budget amendment this fiscal year. So in addition to the immense amount of work it requires for my office, it costs a lot of money to call in and send home jurors. As well as the stress on individuals. So FYI. And on another note, going back to our November 8th November election, We received notice from the state of Michigan that there were petitions for recounts on statewide proposals 2 and 3, which is something I've worked here for 20 years. I've never seen that. The request was for a partial recount, not for a full statewide recount. It involves 600 precincts. Fortunately for us, no precincts in Cass County were chosen. There were a few precincts in Van Buren and Berrien. It cost the individual who requested the recount over $700,000. Recounts are not cheap. So there are many claims. You have to claim fraud or mistakes. If anybody wants more information, I'm happy to share that. So usually recounts involve hand recount of ballots. So that's a good thing for anyone that has questions on tabulators. This is going to be a hand recount. We have to look at those ballots and compare a hand recount to the tabulators and see what that brings. So stay tuned for more information.
I have a question. So if we have a jury trial scheduled, and for some reason it doesn't go through, why is it?
Could be many factors. Apparently in this case, the defendant did not show. However, they hadn't had contact with the defendant in months as he had moved to Texas.
Yeah.
So first, I'd like to compliment and thank you, because I believe if it wasn't for your hard work, we'd have a lot of drama in this county. So I appreciate all the work you do, keeping everybody in check and keeping that media drama outside of our county.
Thank you.
So the second thing, my question is, if you all called 90-some people and there's like 30-some that didn't show up, is there a penalty that maybe would offset the cost of the people that did show up?
Penalties would have to be imposed by the judge,
Well,
so that's not up to me.
not up to you. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
The defendant that did not show up, if he does show up or that person showed up, can that cost be part of the restitution or reimbursement or something? I know it's gotta be probably court ordered, but.
It would be court ordered. That has never been imposed in the past.
We need to start working on judges.
Okay, go ahead.
Question. This is not the first time this has happened.
No, we've had this happen quite often lately, which is why I'm sharing it.
Any other questions?
I think Commissioner Benjamin has served as a juror within the past year.
It was canceled.
Thanks, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, have any unfinished business? Okay, under new business.
Motion 225-22, motion to approve revised Board of Commissioners rule of procedure as recommended by the policy committee. I so move.
Second.
It's properly moved and supported. Is there a discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, so I prefer that this motion be moved to January, and so I'm gonna be voting no for this, and another reason. Really, I think that the next board should get together, a majority of the boards we're replacing, so I think that they should get together, plan out how they wanna run their meetings, whether they want a committee of the whole, or if they wanna change the discussion format of the regular meeting, as well as the dates that they're gonna be meeting. I think that that would be really wise to wait a month and let them decide. The other thing is, in 8.5.d, that whole section violates state law. State law says that the chairman is the only one shall run meetings. You can't create a rule that says the chairman can't chair meetings, so the way that it's written, again, violates the state law that talks about the role of the chair. In particular, it says the chair of the Board of Commissioners shall not serve as the chair of the committee of the whole, but the state law says for every meeting that the Board of Commissioners has, they're the ones that chair it, so that would have to be revised anyway.
I have a question for Commissioner
Go ahead.
Benjamin.
Go ahead.
When I was vice chair, I chaired the committee of the whole.
Yeah, and actually, that's when I learned about it, was when you were the chair, you were the acting chair of the committee of the whole is when I learned about it.
Okay, so what statute is that?
That's, if you look at the statute, I don't have the number right in front of me, but if you look at the statute that talks about what the chair does, the chair, one of the roles of the chair is to, you know, head all of our meetings. So even if we had a work session, now if the chair isn't here, then the vice chair would step in. But, I mean, this expands out to, if I remember right, it rotates to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to finish, I would say that the policy committee should reflect to that part of the state law and reconcile that section to it.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, but I will say that we followed, when we first initiated the committee of the whole a number of years ago, we followed the direction that we got from Michigan State. So, in fact, Julie Piat worked with us on setting up the committee of the whole. But I want to know what that statute is, because I haven't ever heard of that before.
I'd be more than happy to do that, but that is one of the
Yeah.
functions of the chair.
Floor is still open. Any other discussion? If no discussion, we'll vote. All in favor of M225-22, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. Motion passes. Mr. Grace.
Motion 226-22, motion to approve revised land bank authority bylaws. I so move.
Second.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion? We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Commissioner Marquetti.
Yes, M227-22 is a motion to reclassify the IT website content manager at grade 6, step 9, to marketing and communication manager at grade 9, step 6. And so I make that motion.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion on the motion? Yes.
Didn't we, who hired Ambrosia? You did. And we voted on that because in this contract that we voted on, anything that anybody hires, am I right or wrong, that it has to come through us first? And I think or no, am I wrong about that?
It's just for the deputy administrator.
If there was a deputy administrator that was designated, that would come through.
But anything below that,
Yeah,
you
so
can do.
individual departments, yeah, that would be under my.
All right, so that blows my second discussion point, that if that were the case, then upgrading it would have to come through us also. But if it has to do with money, because I believe the difference is $5,000 or so,
Roughly, yes.
that doesn't have to come through us
That's the whole idea behind it.
right now.
Yeah.
But it could, not prior to, but it has to be like on the agenda before it gets done.
Yeah, I mean, I think with any reclassifications, the plan, the way it would need to be handled is that, once somebody's hired, there's a process there where you can choose kind of grade and step, for an existing position. And that would be kind of where they would start. Any changes, so if you wanted to change a position to a different position, reclassify a position, that always is gonna have to come through the Board of Commissioners for approval.
And has this been, so this didn't have to go through any committees or boards or anything like that to avoid any issue?
Well, we did actually discuss it with the salary committee
Right.
today, and the recommendation from the salary committee was to go forward. Kind of what we're looking at, I guess, just to give a broad overview, is we're kind of looking at, with the salary committee in particular, kind of how to structure that. There is a policy in the county that for any reclassified jobs, those do come through administration and to the Board of Commissioners. Practice prior to that, or as of late, has been to run those through the salary committee for an initial discussion and then a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners from there. So, we're looking at kind of how to best effectuate that, based on what the Board of Commissioners' preference would be. But at any rate, I think the biggest key is that, you know, the Board of Commissioners has the final say on any reclassifications that would occur.
All right.
Mr.
Yes, I, I reviewed this and I've spoken to Matt about it, and I'm very pleased so far with what has transpired as far as our communications person, as our web content manager position. There's certain publications that I read every day, and when I read something about CAS, I'm so excited, and that has happened more often that we have in Ambrosia than it ever happened before. So I'm very, very much in favor of this. I think it's a good move. I think it's something that's needed. If there's anything that I learned in 2020, in 2019, and 2020, was that we needed more help in the administration office. And this, and this has, I think she's done a fabulous job, and I'm voting yes.
I just wanted to head off that what the issues we had in the past with step increases, there are other positions in this county that those people in those positions might feel, or we might feel, that they're more important than, you know, communications. And I just hoping to caution everybody that we might be opening up a can of worms here for complaints, grievances, and the like, you know, from other employees.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that with the compensation, I mean, the Board of Commissioners has the full authority to fix that for all county positions. You know, and I think when you look at the position that we had, you know, this has evolved quite a bit. You know, it's way beyond web content now.
Because everything in red is what was added.
Exactly. I mean, when you look at the press releases, the branding stuff, social media, coordinating internal and external communications, you know, there's a lot of things here that are an evolution of what existed before. You know, so I think the change is certainly justified. And then we did have a classification item there that kind of updated it. And the three main points that we were looking at were kind of education, experience, and complexity. So we're looking at this as a bachelor's degree position, 5 years of experience, and then obviously when you look at just website, you know, that was a one-level position complexity. When you start adding in social media, media relations, social media, and all of that, kind of the internal, external communications, coordinations amongst departments, we thought that added an additional layer of complexity that was worth exploring as well.
And I have one more. So last meeting, I had mentioned that our IT director was helping out the healthcare facility, and I said that they needed help. So with this raise and all that, would that open up the ability for Ambrosia to help the IT across the board, including the whatever they need until we can get them extra help?
Actually, bringing that up, I can tell you that the road commission, and I know some of our other departments here, drain commissioner, for example, have approached us about helping them, you know, with their web presence and media presence. So I think there are some avenues there, actually, to be able to work through that.
Yeah, all right.
You know, and maybe potentially bring in additional revenues as well.
Oh, you go ahead, because I've already spoken once, so you go ahead.
Yeah, I just, you've expanded the roles and responsibilities. I think that the step increase is warranted based off of what you provided here, so I'm in support of it.
Well, one thing is that we've talked about going for grants, and a huge part of grant writing is the narrative. And that is one area, because of her writing experience for journalism and communications, is that she can help with grant writing. And it's like, we're building a team now that's going to move us ahead.
Floor still open. No more discussion. We'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Commissioner Jones.
M22822 is a motion to approve the letters of understanding for the following collective bargaining units: dispatch, animal control, corrections, sergeants of the corrections, and the road sergeant. So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion on this motion? discussion?
Well, our finance director is here. I'd like to ask her, have you looked at this? I know I sent email to Matt and to you about it. And so how does this impact our bottom line?
I am not sure where the budget will end up. I know there's some vacancies right now. Moving forward, it would be an additional cost. It wasn't in the budget, and that's kind of the yearly cost. Just for this year, I kind of put that, and then it would be increases, you know what I mean, over the years.
So, so this isn't for just 1 year. We're talking about multiple years.
The contracts,
Just-
this
yeah.
is amending
The contracts.
their union contracts, which are, I believe, through 2025 or so. So it would be multiple years, yes.
And the analysis that was there, that's 1 year of time in terms of the numbers that are there. One thing I guess I would note, we have it on there, but just to clarify, is that in the grand total amount, in the holiday amounts, we utilize kind of the top rate of pay for those positions, just because we aren't able to necessarily know exactly who's gonna work on those holidays. So we went kind of the top of the scale with some of those. So to be frank, you know, I mean, I think with the grand total, it's possible that comes down slightly from what's here. We wanted to kind of present what would be kind of the maximum cost, but it's possible that it could be, you know, 1,000 or 2,000 lower than that, depending on who is actually working.
Is there any other discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Do we need a roll call?
Need a roll call?
Well, it's been asked.
What?
It's been asked.
Commissioner Benjamin,
Yes.
Commissioner Marquetti,
Yes.
Commissioner Lehman,
No.
Chair Dice,
No.
Commissioner Bryce,
No.
Commissioner Jones,
Absolutely yes.
Commissioner File.
No.
I have 4 no, 3 yes.
Motion is defeated. Commissioner File.
Resolution 22922 is resolution to reauthorize step-level hiring across full pay scale. That's a move.
Support.
Properly moved, supported. Is there any discussion on this one?
Yes,
Go ahead.
if I may, I'd like to know, what's the reasoning behind this?
Yeah, I mean, I think across the positions at the county, there's still been, you know, some challenges in terms of finding qualified candidates. You know, so I mean, I think the idea with this, and it's been, I think, the last couple of years, was that in coordination with department heads or elected officials filling positions, this would allow the full use of the pay scale in cases where it was warranted. So, you know, I don't think this is something that anybody would plan to do automatically, but, you know, if there was a situation where you're having trouble filling a role and there was a need to go above that kind of midpoint step, because that's what's permitted now through policy, is that the county administrator, in coordination with department heads or elected officials, could hire up to the midpoint of the pay scale. This kind of authorizes that extended pay scale where it's necessary. And this also would provide that if you're using that full use of the pay scale, it would be at the request of the department head or the elected official in coordination with administration, and we would then inform the board of commissioners when that would happen. I mean, it doesn't happen frequently, but I think having the ability to be able to adjust on the fly if those things come up is helpful.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any other discussion on the motion? No more discussion, we'll vote. All in favor say aye. Resolution, excuse me. Big R in front of it, there you go. Commissioner,
Commissioner File,
Yes.
Chair Dice.
yes.
Commissioner Marquetti.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin,
No.
Commissioner Bryce.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yep.
Commissioner Lehman.
Yes.
And we have Commissioner Benjamin. The motion, the resolution passes. You had a question on Proposed consent agenda?
Yeah, so, the board should have a updated list of, paid claims. So with that list, I'll make motion, M22322, motion to approve claims dated November 25th, 2022, as amended.
Support.
Probably supported.
Yeah, and the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
The reason there were several voided checks that were in the original list, and I believe in chatting with the administration office, they're going to work through the reporting not to include those in the future. But we shouldn't approve checks for payment that have been voided.
That have been what?
Voided.
Voided.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other discussion on the motion as amended? None? We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We do have a closed session.
Motion 230-22, motion to enter closed session, discuss trial and/or settlement strategy in the tax foreclosure litigation, including the pending lawsuits, Granger versus County of Ottawa, Calkins versus Kent County, and Statler versus Kent County, pursuant to MCL 15.268E, and to discuss material exempt from disclosure under attorney-client privilege pursuant to MCL 15.26H. Closed session to include Hope Anderson, Monica McMichael, Jennifer Renfro, Matthew Newton, Alan Vanderland, Nick Spragle, any other party as may be designated by the board chair. I so move.
Second.
Properly moved, supported. The motion stands as stated. We will now go into closed session. Roll call.
Chair Dice?